Hello everyone, welcome to this video tutorial on dashboards in Excel. In this video, we'll be creating two dashboards using a sample sales dataset. So if you want to get the data and the dashboard file that we'll be creating in this demo, then please put your email IDs in the comment section of the video. Our team will share the files via email. Now, let's begin by understanding what is a dashboard in Excel. A dashboard is a visual interface that provides an overview of key measures relevant to a particular objective with the help of charts and graphs. Dashboard reports allow managers to get a high-level overview of the business and help them make quick decisions. There are different types of dashboards such as strategic dashboards, analytical dashboards, and operational dashboards. An advantage of dashboards is the quick detection of outliers and correlations. With comprehensive data visualization, it is time-saving as compared to running multiple reports. With this understanding, let's jump into our demo. For creating our dashboards, we'll be using a sample sales dataset. Let me show you the dataset first. So here is the sales dataset that we'll be using for our demo. So this dataset was actually generated using a simulator and is completely random. It was not validated, though we have applied certain transformations to the data using Power Query features. So this data, as you can see, has 1000 rows. So using the simulator, we had generated 1000 rows of data. Similarly, if I go on top, you can see this data set has 17 columns. Now let me give you a brief about each of the columns. So first we have the region column. So we have Middle East and North Africa, that's North America, Asia, Sub-Saharan Africa, and others. Similarly, we have the country names from which the item was ordered. The third column is the item type. So we have different items: cosmetics, vegetables, there's baby food, cereal, fruits, etc. Then we have the representative's name, or you can say this as the customer name who ordered the product. Then we have a sales channel column. So there are basically two channels, whether the item was sold offline or online. Next, we have the order priority column. Now here C stands for critical. Then we have H, which is for high priority orders. Then we have M for medium priority orders. And finally we have L, which is for low priority orders. You can see the order date column. Then we have the order ID, the ship date. Next we have units sold, which is basically the total number of units sold for each item. Then we have the unit price column. This is the price at which each product was sold. Then we have the unit cost column, which is basically the production cost for each of the items. Next, we have the total revenue. The total revenue is actually the product of units sold and unit price. Then we have the total cost column. Now the total cost column is actually the product of units sold and the unit cost. Similarly, we have the total profit column. So total profit is the difference between total revenue and the total cost. And finally, we have created two more columns, that is order year and then we have order month. Now these two columns were actually generated using the Power Query features. So we used the order date column, which is this column, and extracted order year and order month. So first, we are going to create a revenue dashboard where we'll focus on generating reports for revenue by order year, revenue by year and region, revenue by order priority, and much more. We'll create separate pivot tables and pivot charts and format them to make them look more interesting and presentable. We'll add slices and timeline to our dashboards in order to filter it based on specific fields. Now let's create our first report to see the total revenue generated each year. So we need to create a pivot table for this. I'll click on a cell in my dataset and then I'll go to the Insert tab. Here we have the option to select the pivot table. I click on this. You can see my table range is selected. Next, I want to place my pivot table in a new worksheet and let's just click on OK. There you go. So we have a new sheet where I can place my pivot table. So first, I need to find the total revenue generated by each year. So what I'll do is, I'll drag my order year column under rows and then I'll select the total revenue column under values. you can see I have my pivot chart ready. Now if you want, you can sort this. So from the data, you can see we have order year from 2010 to 2017. Now based on this data, let's create our pivot chart. So I'll click on any cell, go to insert, and here you have the option to select recommended charts. I click on this. Now actually I want a line chart, so I'll click on line here and select OK. There you go. So we have successfully created our first pivot chart. Now let me show you how you can format this chart to make it more readable. So first, let me delete these. So I'll right click and select hide all field buttons on the chart. So this will delete the buttons present on the chart. Now let me go ahead and edit the chart title. So the title I want is total revenue. I'll type it down by year. Alright. Next, let's do a few more transformations. So if I click on this plus sign, which is actually for chart elements, we have some options like to add axis, axis titles, chart title, data labels, this grid lines, legend and others. Okay, so let's remove the legend now. You can see the total legend is gone. Now let me add axis titles. So we'll label our x-axis and y-axis. So here under x-axis, I can write it as year. Similarly on the y-axis, I'll put revenue. Okay, you can move a bit. Alright, now let me select this chart style option and go to colors first. Here I'll select yellow color. Okay, and then let me go back to style. Let's select a new style from this list. I want this style. Okay, now you can also add data labels. So I'll just click on data labels. You can see we have the revenue for each of the years. Now this is not readable at all, so we'll format this a bit. If I click on this arrow, here I have more options. If I scroll down, you can see we have something called as number here. I'll expand this and under category, I'll select custom. Now here we'll give a format code which is a bit different. So this is actually a kind of a formula. So I'll write if my revenue value is greater than, let's say, 9,99,000. Let me make sure there are 6 9s here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Okay, we are good to go. I'll close the bracket. I'll give a hash, give 2 commas. So if the revenue is greater than 9,99,000, I'll put it in the format of millions. So within double quotes, I'll write M. I'll give a semicolon followed by another hash, and if the value is less than the desired number, it should be 0 million. Let me click on add. Alright, you can see how nicely we have formatted our data, and you see here we have added the new format which is in millions. Alright, now if you want, you can go ahead and adjust the boxes. Let me move this a bit up. I'll delete this. Now if you notice this line chart, you can make a few conclusions. For example, if you see here in 2010, the total revenue generated was nearly 175 million. Now this came down to 150 million in 2011. Then the revenue constantly grew from 2011 till 2014. It reached 195 million, and after 2014 it again came down to 180 million, and the revenue dropped significantly between 2016 and 2017. In 2017 the revenue was just 96 million. Now, before moving ahead to my next chart, let me just rename this sheet. So I'll write it as revenue by year. Alright. Now let's analyze the revenue generated each year in different regions. So for this we'll create another pivot table. Let me close this. I'll click on any cell, go to insert and select pivot table. I'll just click OK so that my pivot table is placed on a new sheet. Alright. Now this time we want the revenue by each year and region. So first of all, let's drag region to columns. Then let's drag the order year column under rows, and then I'll select total revenue onto values. So here you can see we have the pivot table ready. So for 2010 you can see in Asia this was the revenue generated. Similarly, if you see for 2013 this was the total revenue generated in Europe, and we have for other years as well. Now let's create a line chart based on this pivot table. So I'll select any cell in the pivot table, I'll go to insert and I'll click on recommended charts. From this list I'll select my line chart and click on OK. There you go. So we have our next pivot chart ready. So on the right you see the different regions that are present in different colors. Let me just expand it so that you can see all the regions we have. So in total we have 7 regions, and each of the regions have been represented in different colors. So if you notice this graph, for the sub-Saharan African region in 2012, sub-Saharan Africa made the highest amount of sales. Now from the sample data you can also tell that the revenue for North America has been significantly low compared to other regions. Similarly, if you see for Europe, this was the revenue trend between 2010 and 2017. So if you see here in 2011 the sales were at this level, then it significantly dropped in 2012, then in 2013 there was a huge spike, and then again came down in 2015 and so on. So you can make your own conclusions by looking at these line charts. Now let's format this chart. So first of all, let's delete the field buttons present on the chart, and we'll also delete the legend. Alright, now let me just reduce the size of the chart. Next, we'll add a chart title. So we'll give the title as revenue by year and region. Okay. You can also format the y-axis in terms of millions. So I'll right click on this axis and I'll select format axis. I'll scroll down and here we have the number drop down. Let me scroll again. Under category I'll select custom and we'll use this format that we created for our previous chart. There you go. You can see our axis labels have been changed in terms of millions now. So let's close this and let me save it. Now you can reduce the font size or increase the font size. Let me just show you. Suppose you want to increase the font size of the chart title, so you just select it and from here you can either reduce or you can increase. You can see now it's 12. If you want you can make it 16. Similarly you can also edit the axis labels also. By selecting the chart title, you can also move it to left or right, or you can place it in the center as well. For the time being, let me just keep it to the left. Alright. Now, we'll see the revenue and total cost by each region, and we'll create a combo chart for this. So let me show you how to do it. I'll go to my data sheet. I have my cell selected. I'll go to insert and click on pivot table. Let me just click on OK. Alright. So for this, I'll select my region onto rows, and then I'll have two columns under values. The first one is going to be total revenue, and the next column will be the total cost column. Alright. So here we have the pivot table ready. Now based on this pivot table, let's create our pivot chart. So I'll go to recommended charts, and if you see below, at the bottom we have combo chart. So this is the preview of the combo chart. Alright. Now let me just click on OK. There you go. So we have a nice combo chart ready here. Now the way to look at it is, the bars represent the total revenue, which is this column. Now the line represents the total cost. So let me go ahead and edit this chart a bit. So first of all, let's delete the field buttons. Alright. And let's also remove the legend from here. Next, we'll add data labels. So I'll click on data labels here. Okay. So these are the data labels for the bars or the revenue column. Now let's format the data labels in terms of millions. So I'll click on this arrow, go to more options. If I scroll down, I have number. From here I'll select custom, and I'll choose my type, that is in millions. Alright, so you can see we have formatted our data. Next thing, we'll add a chart title. So here I'll write as revenue by region. It's actually revenue and total cost by region. Before moving ahead, let me rename the sheets as well. I'll write revenue and total cost. Similarly, sheet 3 also I'm going to rename it as revenue by year and region. So this makes your sheet more readable. Alright. Now moving ahead. Next, we are interested to get the revenue generated by order priority. And for this, we are going to create a pie chart. So let's go to the data sheet and create our pivot table first. I click on OK. Now I'll select order priority under rows, and under values I'll select total revenue. So this is a very simple pivot table. So you have your order priority. So C is for critical, H is for high, L is for low, and M is for medium. Now based on this, let's create a pie chart. So I'll go to recommended charts, and here you have pie chart. I want to select this 3D type of pie chart, and I'll click on OK. Alright. So we have our pie chart ready. Let me just resize it. And from here I'll remove the field buttons. And I also don't need the legend, so I'll delete this as well. Alright. Now let's give a chart title. So this is going to be revenue by order priority. Now let's add our data labels. I'll check this option. Okay. Now let's again format this in terms of millions. So here I'll click on the last option. I'll go to numbers. Under category I'll select custom, and my type is going to be in terms of millions. There you go. Let me close this. I will just move this to the center. Alright. Now if you want, you can change the color of the text as well. So let's have it in white color and see how it looks. Okay, so this looks pretty decent. Cool. Now moving to our next